Hello, third grade. I'm so excited to keep reading with you. Today we're on chapter 8. We'll also read chapter 9. Chapter 8 starts on page 52. So if you need to go get your book, just go ahead, pause the video, and once you got it, go ahead and press play. Chapter 8. Can't wait to find out what happens. One star to another. Who was that guy? Said Jack. What does his map mean? I don't know, said Annie, but let's see if it works. Jack took a deep breath. Yeah, we'd better hurry back. I think I'm running out of air. It feels harder to breathe. Remember, they only have 2 hours of air in those tanks, so those tanks can hold their air for 2 hours, but then they're on the moon. Remember, the moon doesn't have an atmosphere like we do on Earth, so it doesn't have anything to keep the air in. So there's no air. It's kind of hard to imagine, but try to picture it. Life would be very different, right? They can't live without having without having these huge suits on. For me too, said Annie. Go slow. Don't breathe too much, said Jack. Why do you think they said that? Don't breathe too much. Well, when you run, if you go really fast and your heart rate goes up, you start breathing and using more oxygen. So they said go slow so that we don't use up too much of our air. He and Annie took long, floating steps toward the moon base. Jack held his breath as if he were underwater. By the time they got to the white dome, he was ready to burst. Annie pushed a button beside the huge door. It slid open. They hurried into the airlock. The door closed behind them, and the door to the hallway opened. Jack opened the visor of his helmet. He took a long, deep breath and let it out. Ah! Let's get out of these suits, said Annie. Good idea. Jack was dying to free his arms and legs. As they moved clumsily into the spacesuit storeroom, Jack felt heavy again. Remember, gravity's different too. Okay, so if they're outside on the moon, remember they could bounce really high because their gravity's not as strong, and they could do that. Now they're back inside where they've got air and there's more pressure, and it's now all of a sudden it feels normal to walk again. He and Annie unlocked each other's helmets, gloves, and boots, and pulled everything off. I just turned the page to page 54. Then they stepped out of their bulky suits. Woo, Jack said. He took off his glasses and rubbed his eyes. It was great to be free, even if he no longer felt light as a feather. Hurry, Peanut's waiting, said Annie. She led the way down the steps to the bright landing chamber. Yay, she said softly. Jack was relieved to see the treehouse still there. Soon they'd be heading home. He couldn't wait. Jack and Annie crawled through the treehouse window. We're back, Peanut, said Annie. Squeak! Peanut ran to the letter M. We missed you, said Annie. She patted the mouse's head. We met a moon man. Sorry, Peanut, but you have to move, said Jack. We have to put the map on the M. Annie gently lifted the mouse off the end. Jack tore the star map out of his notebook. He placed it on the M next to the mammoth bone, the mango, and the moonstone. He sighed, then sat back on his heels. Hand me the Pennsylvania book, he said. They needed the Pennsylvania book to get back home. There was silence. Jack turned and looked at Annie. It's not working, she said. The book's not here. What? The map was the wrong thing? They looked around the treehouse. It's definitely not here, said Annie. How are they going to get home? They might be stuck. Turn the page. Let's find out. Page 56. Oh, no. Jack's heart sank. He picked up the star map and stared at it. Squeak, squeak. Peanut jumped out of Annie's arms and scurried back to the letter M. I've got an idea, said Jack. He reached into his pack and took out his pencil. What are you doing? Said Annie. You know how you draw a constellation? Said Jack. You connect all the stars. What happens if we try that? Remember, like the constellations in the sky. So if you have all these different stars, astronomers and things like that have come up with constellations that kind of look like a picture. So if you've heard of the Big Dipper, that's a constellation. That's probably one of the most famous ones. He drew a line from one star to another. He kept drawing until all the stars were connected. Let me see, said Annie. Jack held the paper out so they could both study it. It looks like a mouse, said Annie. Yeah, said Jack. Is there such thing as a mouse constellation? Said Annie. I don't think so, said Jack. Squeak. Jack and Annie looked at Peanut. She was standing on the M. Oh, wow, Jack, Annie whispered. I think I know what the fourth thing is. Jack grinned. Me too, he said. It's a mouse, they said together. Squeak, squeak. Maybe the spell is moonstone, mango, mammoth bone, mouse, said Annie. Jack touched each M thing in turn as he whispered, Moonstone, mango, mammoth bone, mouse. Let's say it over and over again and see what happens, said Annie. Together they chanted, say it with me, Moonstone, mango, mammoth bone, mouse, moonstone, mango, mammoth bone, mouse. Suddenly, a bright light filled the treehouse. The light got brighter and brighter and brighter. The brightness was blinding and whirling. The air spun with brightness. Then, everything was clear. Peanut the mouse was gone. And Morgan Le Fay stood before Jack and Annie. If you remember, Morgan Le Fay was who they were talking about way back in the prologue at the beginning of the book. That was kind of the wizard that helped them find the magic tree house the first time. Turn to page 60. Chapter 9. Thank you, Morgan said softly. You have freed me from the magician's spell. Jack just stared at her. You were Peanut? Annie said. Morgan nodded and smiled. Really? You were with us all the time, said Jack, on all our missions? Morgan nodded again. Why did we have to go on this mission to find a mouse, said Jack, if you were always with us? To break the spell, we had to be on the moon, said Morgan. You could have broken it the minute we arrived. Oh, that's what you were trying to say, said Annie. We didn't have to leave the moon base at all. Morgan nodded, smiling. But the moon man came along to help us, said Annie. He drew a constellation of a mouse. Is he a friend of yours? Morgan shrugged. Let's just say we had a little talk. He stopped by the moon base while you were out. The same way you had a talk with the ninja master, right? Said Jack. And the monkey? And the sorcerer? Morgan nodded. I've always squeaked to the ones who helped you. Turn to page 62. But how did they understand you? A mouse, said Jack. Morgan smiled again. Certain wise ones understand the language of little creatures, she said. I bet it was you who turned the pages of the books, said Annie, to show us where to go next. Morgan nodded. But who turned you into a mouse, said Annie. Morgan frowned. A certain person who likes to play tricks on me, she said. His name is Merlin. Merlin, said Jack, the greatest magician who ever lived? Morgan sniffed. He's not that great, she said. He doesn't even know I have two brave friends who help me. Us? Said Annie shyly. Morgan nodded. And I thank you both with all my heart. You're welcome, said Jack and Annie. Morgan handed Annie the Pennsylvania book. Are you ready to go home now? She asked. Yes, said Jack and Annie. Annie pointed to a picture of the Frog Creek woods. I wish we could go there, she said. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. But only for a moment. That's where we'll have to stop for today. We'll take our last chapter, chapter 10, tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm also going to have you vote. Okay? I like to get you guys' opinion all the time. So tomorrow we're going to vote. Our vote's going to be, what book should we read next? I've got another Magic Treehouse book that we could read, another Jack and Annie story. Otherwise, I've got a different book that's all about Humphrey. That's the class pet. of a classroom, and the book is all about the different adventures that he goes on with the students in his class. So that quiz or that vote will be tomorrow online. So tonight, just think about if you would like to read another Jack and Annie book, or if you'd rather move on to Humphrey the Hamster. Thanks.